Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to Old World. And let's see where we are. All right, we are back live again. Nope, no, we are not. Now we're back live. I think. All right, we have a new map. Whoa, all right, much different. I mean, a little similar, but now it doesn't cross that way. Little less rush potential here, but that's good for both players. All right. Let's just make sure that we are live. Okay, so we're live. We're back. And yeah, welcome to Old World. So, if you're watching this video on the playlist on YouTube, we had a bit of a false start for these fellas. They played about 20 minutes and there was a bit of a timing mistake here. And they just felt it was best to restart the game. So, we have Anarkos versus Becked, round 1 match. Let's take a look at the starting locations here. We have a camp in the region, a horse in the region, wheat, a grove resource, and some goats. So strong Persia potential, strong hunter potential in here. Looks like we now have a Assyria pick from Becked. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty solid. And we have hunters on Assyria. All right. Looks like we have a intelligent schemer to start, so he's really leaning into that science potential. Going to open the game with 21 science per turn and going directly into in the city as a governor. And going straight for that camp down. Hunters does get the 100% boost on camps. Just going to do a little bit of housekeeping while we're waiting for... I'm just checking chat to make sure people are catching up with us. Yes, so if you're with us on YouTube, should have a great game here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sites on each side, so that's 14 sites. And then 3 in the middle. So we're looking at 17 city sites for this map. All right. Now we have no pick on Anarkos yet. Hopefully they're doing all right. Just going to double check the chat here. Okay. Still mulling that pick. Timer is paused. All right, so we have Persia. So now we have Persia on Anarkos, opting for statesman in the capital. So we'll be looking to get Oh, going directly for horses for the extra order. Interesting choice. I think the play here would be to grab growth first. You are a schemer. We have an educated schemer, so he's opting for science push as well. And so that gives our players 21 science on Assyria for the intelligent schemer and 20 science on Persia for the educated schemer. Persia will have a much higher crit chance, so I suspect with 25% chance to crit, yep, we're going directly for the schemer as a general. Conversely, Assyria put the schemer in the capital, which makes sense because they're intelligent, so they're going to get that 4-turn settler as opposed to Persia's 5-turn settler. Both nations did have access to hunters. However, Assyria chose to place hunters in the capital while Persia did not. Doing some harvesting on Persia's side makes sense. The players have started the game with tight. Turnstile on from round 1. We had a bit of a false start in the previous match. In this match already, they played for about 20 minutes, and there was a timing issue with simultaneous, so they've opted to just start directly with tight. Avoid any further confusion. Makes sense. We have an incredible 3 marble location in the center of the map. That would be brilliant to grab. There's some iron up in these hills, tucked away. Let's take another look around the map. And nothing too incredible. This could be great for Persia. Lots of, it's going to be on this side of the map. This would be really great for Persia as well. Lots of pasture. Their order economy is going to be quite nice. Opening divination for Persia first. Stone cutting on Assyria. They have not yet met. I suspect they will meet shortly. All right, here we are. We are with Assyria now. They're so close to meeting. We're doing some harvests. I like that. Using those orders. Persia's already attacking their camp, which is pretty nice. Wow, just 1 tile away from meeting each other. Well, actually, yeah. Oh, yeah, just 1 tile away from meeting each other. That's so funny. Keep in mind, since they're both schemers, the scouts cannot physically see. Oh, actually, you know what? I think because they're invisible, maybe they won't meet. I forget how that works. All right, Persia taking a second hit. This unit will respawn. And the tactician will have to deal with a unit. Oh, on the same turn it comes into attack. That's going to be frustrating. And so really, really strong scouting from Anarkos. Going directly for his opponent's location. Wants to keep eyes on what his opponent is doing as best as he can. Using that mirror map advantage, I suspect, to get a sense of, okay, my barbarian camp is right here. So I'm just going to send my scout directly across, and I'm going to watch the timing and pacing of my opponent's clearing of the map. So nice, solid play from Anarkos there. You want that vision. Yes. If Persia, they have met now, because once they see each other's units, once you can see their unit, they will meet. So yes, an invisible scout, even though you cannot see the scout, will essentially tip you off to the fact that the scout is in the region, because even though you can't, let's switch over to, oh, I mean, I guess I can still see the scout. Even though Assyria cannot see any scout in this region, they now do have eyes on Persia. They know Persia's a schemer, so they would know that there is an invisible scout somewhere within range of seeing their slinger. That will give them a tip-off there. Let's see how... We have our first clear. Assyria has used their order buying twice already. Persia has used it once, so both players are aware of the value of buying early orders in order to scout the map and move their units around and make sure you can get whatever you need to get done in the game as quickly as possible. So we do have our first settler out. He's going to want to bring this up to this site. We have a respawn, we have a new spawn unit. It is melee, which is actually awesome. It will take a bunch of damage from attacking, so you can continue to clear the camp while the unit mostly kills itself. Counterattack won't deal the killing blow, but he won't have to waste the orders and attack killing that unit, so that's pretty solid. But the correct play here is to get this settler up in order to help the scout heal up as quickly as possible. Swapping over to Persia now. Persia's coming up with their settler, also doing the same thing for basically the same reason, because if you had come down here to settle the free site, this unit would be able to kill this single unit before you're able to kill it. So when you're clearing a barb camp, if the unit responds, you basically need to send your settler out to protect it. Straight to labor force for Persia. So we opened with divination on Persia, going straight into labor force, and we know Assyria went for stone cutting first and going into divination. Yeah, so this will attack one more time, get countered, so Assyria will be able to kill this unit, take the camp, and then kill this unit without having to hit this a bunch of times. He'll take a decent amount of damage, but not the end of the world. In fact, it does look, unless Persia force marches, it does look like Assyria could get the settle momentum here. And this is a thing that we want to make note of. This is all of the map that Assyria has uncovered so far, compared to Persia. If we hop on over them, again, straight beeline directly for his opponent, eyes on what he's doing, eyes on that expansion strategy. When you have a small arena like this, we have dual, square, tight, not a lot of tiles. They are only 38 or 37 tiles away from each other, their capitals. So you can clear that map pretty quickly. Assyria with the crit, a wasted crit, always love to see it. And we're going for the settle directly on top of the slinger to prevent him from taking any more damage. We'll take the one hit for when the barbarian attacks the city. Take the 1 HP damage. But that's not bad. Better than the 3 or so that it would have taken. And that's basically the classic play of how you protect your unit. You do take the little bit of damage on the city, but generally it's worth it. If that way you can just heal up quickly. And he goes straight for a slinger. And so we do have that one turn momentum, that getting that settler out one turn quicker. We also have another settler directly from Becked coming out in 3 turns because of the Hunter's growth situation. Really strong there. That's one of the things that's going to slow you down by opting to get this pasture first. He could have taken a goat, or he could have taken his farm for that extra 2 growth on the settler and come back for the order later when he needs it. But with only so few units on the map and being a schemer, the ability to purchase these orders, I feel like you don't need to rush for that pasture right away. You can delay it, have that come on a little bit later. And we have riders up front. I do understand the play here because we are not connected. We're going to stay connected here. This is going to get us quicker workers. That does make sense. We do have horses. We are Persia, so you'll get that flanking bonus here if you build horse units here. However, I think with both players having access to hunters, the defensible nature of this pass, I really like the idea of seeing hunters here because you're just not going to be able to get through here with a bunch of hunter slingers piling up. Although it is interesting, there are hills here. So if it comes down to it, siege posted along these hills would be able to... The view is very limited, but they'd be able to get pretty far into this territory from a very safe distance on their own. So a couple of onagers on these hills could be pretty bad for whoever's tucked behind these mountains. All right. Continuing some scouting down south. Going to meet the Vandals. Doesn't look like we had the opportunity to get legitimacy from that meeting. I'm not sure what was chosen, but it didn't look like a war. Oh, no. He's at war with him now. So he could have done that manually just to make sure he got the schemer order. Schemers automatically get 1 order per turn for everybody that they're at war with. So honestly, they could declare war on each other right away to get that extra order. It does benefit both of them, but I mean, I would take that trade. I'd trade an order for an order. Why not? All right, and we got a lucky crit securing that kill on Persia. Persia doubled back. He did get oh no, actually Persia's hanging out here. Oh, he's got the rider scout, my bad. Yeah, so we have a second scout off of the rider's founding. That's one of my favorite abilities in the game. It's a super underrated ability because it's just a one-time burst. It's just a scout. You think, oh yeah, I don't really need it. But if anyone has the orders to utilize a second scout early in the game, it's most certainly Persia, and of course, it's a schemer. We do have somebody on offer for marriage. Nobody with good wisdom, but we have a hero or a zealot. Lose a little gold by taking either one of these. Probably take the hero in this situation, or maybe you just make the riders grumpy. You can afford to make the riders grumpy and wait. We opted to take the hero. Ambitions. We can do promote 5 units, and we went promote 5 units. That makes sense. We're already close to a promotion on our starting warrior, slinger rather, and, you know, decent enough training. I would be curious... We're not bringing in clerics so far, so I would be curious if Anarkos would be content to cut out hunters here. That could be devastating to have 2 hunters nations go against each other and only one of them bring in hunters. We have a double hunter settle here. I actually appreciate that. This is a decent site. 4 hunters, you have the camp. It's also great defensively. So I appreciate that Becked didn't feel compelled to bring in a second family immediately. If you find a really, really good spot, I mean, this isn't the most amazing hunter spot, but, you know, it could be better. But I definitely think it's a good strategic play to put hunters here. So if you're in a situation where you have a good spot for the right family, but you haven't settled all your family seats yet, well, whatever. Just go for the better location. You can worry about that later. Definitely don't want to do that if you're on your 4th or 5th city and you still haven't brought in your 3rd family. But early on with your 2nd or 3rd settle, you can skip a seat if you want. I often will do double landowners because I'm a madman. The other great thing about the 2nd scout on Persia is all of their harvests are 50% stronger. So they can run around the map with all of their orders, getting so many extra resources and the possibility of extra events. 3 turns on a settler here, and I think Assyria, yep, Assyria is ready. They're already going to their next settler, so we have some pretty rapid expansion coming from Assyria in this game. We got divination, so now we have the option of taking drama, polis, aristocracy, or rhetoric, all good choices. This is a great map for exploration. We have a very nice river network to utilize. It kind of bleeds towards the center of the map. That's what you want in a matchup like this when you're trying to capitalize on a law like exploration. Really, really strong river here. Would be nice to see one go a little bit further towards the center, but we could work with this. Aristocracy is also always a strong play. We'll be developing culture in the capital in 15 turns. Over to Persia. We now have labor force or slavery to adopt. Probably going to see slavery or freedom. Probably going to see a freedom play here. I wouldn't be surprised. We're still expanding. We're going to want to build another settler coming up. So I wouldn't be surprised. Let's take a look here. Oh, we will opt directly for slavery. All right. That does increase our economy without having to bother spending any time building quarries and mines. So I dig it. And we're going directly for spoked wheel. Love to see it. Early chariots could certainly ruin anybody's day, but especially Assyria, because Assyria does not start with ironworking. They have to make a concerted effort to get ironworking and work their way up towards spears. Also, if you want to do the fun, fancy trick with Assyria and go for that early composite and grab a... hey, here we are. If you want, so Becked has targeted composite bow. It does look like we're going to go for early archers, early ballista. And so what are we teching right now? We're teching rhetoric, which, oh, nice. I do appreciate that because that's exploration. So where are we in the tech deck? Yep, composite bow will come up. So what we know is we have 4 turns on this, and then this will be approximately, I don't know, call it 15, call it 12, 15 turns to get composite bow, and then we still need to get the free ballista at some point. So in that time frame, Persia is going to be getting chariots up and running, which means going to head back to the... Oh, we have some cheeky, fun tactics going on. The best part of the schemer is the most troll tactic. I mean, you could do this with anybody, but with the schemer, you can't see the scout coming. But it's the troll tactic of taking the scout and camping it on your city. This forces the opponent to come back here and take a hit on your scout, and then once it's your turn, you get a little low, you can just hop back off and disappear either into the woods, or if you're a schemer, just disappear into the countryside. We've seen this pop up a couple of times in the tournament so far. It's a fantastic strategy. It's so troll. I love it. I do this all the time. I play schemers a lot. I do this all the time. Interesting choice. Moving the settler, I wouldn't bother wasting the order there, but, you know, there we are. Yeah, so anyway, just to cap this back off, the thing I was saying about composite bow and the chariot timing here, we are making no progress towards phalanx to get spears. So if you're facing Assyria, if you're concerned with an early ballister rush, the best counter to this is actually to pick a horse nation like the Hittites or Persia and get your spoked wheel, get your chariots. And the reason for that is because even if the champion's nation comes up to phalanx to get spears to counter you, well, then what that means is that they're not going towards composite bow and getting archers and ballistas. So either way, it works out in your favor because no one wants to see a ballista show up in 30 turns. All right, so we have our first attack on the scout. It will be Persia's turn. I assume he will hop off into the distance. So the idea behind double landowners is very rapid growth, very, very rapid expansion. Especially if you're along a river, there's two things to think about. The landowner seat starts with 3 citizens. Then, if the city that gets settled by the settler is the same family, right, that built that settler, you start with an extra citizen. So by going landowner, you start with 5 citizens total. In addition to that, you have double rural time. So you can get a bunch of specialists up and running in quick time. I don't normally go directly for the specialist right away. It depends on what's around. So that's technically a science boost. In a city like this, you could do your growth resources, which gives you a growth boost. Normally, I'll build a settler, a second settler right away. But anyway, the point being is your capital can build a second settler while your second city builds a worker. Fast. I think it's a 6-turn worker, or no, it would be a 5-turn worker. It would be a 5-turn worker, and then the capital and the second city can trade workers back and forth between each other indefinitely because it's the same family. So that's the idea behind that. You probably don't want to do a strategy like that in a head-to-head game like this. We're in close quarters. That's more of a wider map play style because in a map like this, you want to get your military units online as quickly as possible. It's helpful if you have a military archetype as your start because you don't need that second unit right away. You can play a little bit greedy. So tacticians or heroes can do double landowners quite nicely. Or if you want to be super greedy, you could do a builder and then all of your workers are coming out insanely fast and then the capital and the second city can just improve everything super quickly. Double landowner builder on Egypt is pretty gross. Honestly, I've played single family landowners games in single player. I actually did beat someone at a duel with single family landowners once. That was kind of funny. All right, so we're 2 turns away from rhetoric. And 6 turns away from spoked wheel. So yeah, Persian chariots are going to be coming up. In fact, I would be so keen to get... Well, we'll probably do worker next. I would be so keen on making sure that I could start chariots soon. I might even migrate this worker all the way down here to improve these horses to make sure that they're online in the time it takes for spoked wheel to be researched. I do like this military production, though. We have Slinger coming out and a warrior, so aggressive military production here on Anarkos. He's playing it safe. He knows that there's rush potential in this arena. Although he can see everything, so that's great. Let's take a look at the map here. Yeah, so Persia has scouted all the way to his opponent. He has pretty good eyes on what's going on. And let's take a look comparatively to our friend Becked. So Becked has not quite yet identified the lands of Persia. He does know where they are, obviously, but he still doesn't have a sense of what cities were chosen. And oh my God. Okay, we have a Persia who elected to cut out hunters. Fortunately, we have a camp here, a camp here, and then one camp there. And that's pretty much it for major camp productions. There's one down here. So you don't lose too much by not having, resource-wise, by not having hunters. Oh, wait, no. These are 2 states. All right, so we have double states. I like that. Cool. Never mind. I thought... Yeah, all right, so I'm still... My bad. I'm still waiting to see if he's going to pick clerics or hunters. Very, very curious. No cleric... Oh, no, we actually have champions now. All right, so no one has settled their 3rd champion city yet. Sorry, I'm all over the place right now, but yeah. Champions starting out a little upset. Let's see. Smallest military, fewest cities. Champions does like to have the largest military, but they will in time. All right. We have... Yeah, ballista through the mountain pass could be brutal. That's very true. But... so would a chariot. I mean, it is hills, but... if someone's lined up along here and you do enough damage, that's a route chain waiting to happen. All right, hopping back over to Persia. Let's take a look at the Persian families. Pretty decent opinion. We have an heir. We have a hero wife. I haven't checked Assyria's wife. We're making progress clearing this camp. All right, so far the momentum seems to be a little bit on Assyria's side. I think Persia's going to have an easier time clearing this camp, but... Sorry, but Assyria has a settler coming up. A settler ready to do what it needs to be done. Oh, I really like this play here. Props to Becked. Very solid tactics. I mean, clearly this is just barbarians here, but still, this is the kind of efficiency that you want to get out of the game. He's going to get a tactician here hitting... 2 melee units hitting his tactician, so he's going to get 2 hits for free. That's just great. So on the next turn, he'll clear the camp and kill a guy, and he'll be able to kill a guy with 1 turn next turn. 1 hit the turn after. And the great thing about this, too, is these 2 low health units on Assyria is just 4 orders waiting to pay out. Because once you kill, as long as... That's the tricky thing with Assyria. You want to make sure you get your kills at the start of the turn. That way, you can use your orders for other stuff. All right, Persia's putting in work, trying to clear their camp. So I was wrong about this, by the way. Assyria's going to have no trouble clearing that camp, so good for them. So Persia has made themselves aware that this mountain pass is blocked off. This is just a barbarian site and a city site that is completely defensible. I do not believe Assyria has bothered to go in this direction yet. Orders have been purchased by Persia only once. And we've purchased orders for Assyria twice. We're going to get a nice boost of orders here. That's 2 orders. That's 2 more orders. And now Assyria can have fun. Honestly, with that amount of orders, I'd probably force march the settler. You can't make the whole distance, but you can get most of it. Make sure that you can get there, get a settle on the next turn. So we'd like to see a force march here. Going directly for an apprentice officer after building 2 barracks in the capital. We really like to see this. That's very strong early development. He's wasting no time to make sure that his military production gets where he wants it to be. Really like that. Strong opener for the Assyrian capital. It is a military capital, so he'll get sentinel slingers coming out of that city in approximately 3 turns a pop. Combined with his champion's output, so he's going to have 2 very strong military hubs. Really like to see that. 12 turns on composite bow. So, 3 turns on spoked wheel. All right, so what we're going to want to see from Persia is the production of a couple of chariots as quickly as he can. At least one chariot needs to hit the map before those archer potentials show up. With the schemer on Assyria, he can spend orders to chop the majority of this forest if he wanted to fund an archer upgrade. That would definitely be a strong use of the schemer ability. Both players will need a decent amount of wood if they're going to produce the units that they want. These chariots are going to cost wood in addition to food. We do like to see that he's ramping up his food production already. Unfortunately, administration is going to go back into the deck. It has a chance of coming back up. Take a look at Assyria. And nice. We did get our force march down because this settler was created last turn. So we did get our first force march all the way down here and a settle in the second turn. And now we have another slinger coming out, and we're opting for a worker in the champ seat. So I like this. We have a 4-city empire, and at least one city is building a military unit at all times. He did double military settles, so still has not brought in a third family. Really like to see this type of play from a player. I'll be curious to see what family he chooses, but by having 4 military cities, that means he can do a 6-turn military unit in every city. Pretty solid. Pretty solid unit production. I wouldn't be surprised if his final family is clerics for the orders. And in that case, you're really in no rush to bring that family out. He only has 1 shrine on the way. You don't need divine rule right now. You have time to build more shrines in other cities, so he will very likely put a shrine in the champion seat, maybe even a shrine in this city over here or down here, and then he'll bring in that cleric's family with the divine rule and get the orders for it immediately. Strong play there. All right, we have Persia looking to eliminate this pesky barbarian outside this camp. And they've now identified that Assyria has settled the opposing site, gaining momentum. Assyria does have 1 city over Persia. They have 4 turns until their 4th city comes online. No further settlers being built by Assyria yet, so they're content to sit at 4 cities for now until they build up a little bit more military to take the next camps. So Persia will have time to catch up. Two turns on spoke wheel. Let's do a quick check on some stats now. Still early days, but Assyria has discovered 4 technologies to Persia's 2. And Persia has 1 more improvement. And let's look at the military score. We have a spike up here for Assyria. All right. It looks like Assyria has their eyes on their next target, their next camp. Should be a pretty easy clear here. Getting himself into position. This river should protect him at least a little bit unless the unit decides to come here. Yeah, it will protect him from that unit, so that's nice. And yeah, he'll make short work of these tribal units next turn. Just one thing to check again here, the science potential. I imagine Assyria is higher here because they do have an intelligent leader. So each city they settle will give them another science point or extra science. We have our first note in the map. Can't quite see what it is. Eyes on center. All right, so Anarkos has made himself a note reminding himself to keep his eyes on the center of the map. Clearing up that final barbecue. Settling. Oh, we have Besieger and Brave on our general. Pretty solid. Besieger is pretty great. Let's see here. Yeah, he'll do 7 damage, 14 if he crits. His crit chance is 25%. That's pretty solid. All right. So he does think, he does have this note here. He wants to make eyes on the center. He positioned his scout, so I fully expect this scout will kind of hang around here for quite some time. Becked making progress on these vandals. 9 turns to composite bow. We have our first law potential. We're going to want to see exploration here. Exploration will really increase this movement, and we're going to do a little bit of a tutorial on that. Let's see what can move. Where is it? Yep, we do have exploration. Smoothing that movement along this river. Now this river acts as if it's a road. Pretty solid bonus all around. Look, this unit can get all the way up here, whereas before it could only get to about here-ish, give or take. So that's a really strong improvement. Good law usage from Assyria. I feel like both of these players are pretty skilled, even though this is their first time playing in a multiplayer match. I'm not sure about Becked, but I know Anarkos is new to multiplayer. But both players showing promise and good judgment. Assyria has located this tribal site, so they do now know that the site in front of them is essentially blocked off. They will acquire that information by way of deducing the mirror map creation. We have possibility of administration, aristocracy, serfdom, and phalanx here. All good choices at this stage in the game. As Assyria, I feel like you need navigation less. I know everybody in this game loves to stockpile orders. It's the most important resource and all that, yada, yada, yada. But when I play Persia, I tend to think as navigation of having less priority. So I feel content to make some greedier plays like grabbing administration and aristocracy. Also, you are a schemer, so if you run into any issues with orders, then you can just use your special ability. So we'll be curious to see what gets picked by Anarkos here. And we went for administration. I really like that play. I think that's the correct play. He's going to need a lot of food income. You can put a granary right here. You could another one out there if you can get this expanded, and you're going to want all that food for your chariots. So administration is probably the one I would have picked as well. Maybe aristocracy instead, but very likely administration. I love granaries. All right, we're making swift progress on this camp. Our players are playing at a pretty decent pace. And we have our first officer coming down the pipeline, 2 workers in each cities. In these 2 cities, another slinger. Probably want to see a force march here from Persia. I'll be curious if Anarkos will do that. Just get the city settled. I'll be curious if he brings in his 3rd family now. Would like to see what that family is going to be. All right, we did get the force march. That's the correct play. And we... this is fantastic. I love this. This is legitimately amazing. Okay, so we have another rider city. I do respect it. He's going for the horse thinking there. He will have 3 of his cities that can build... Oh, and another horse, yeah. So all of his cities will be able to build chariots or his unique unit when the time comes. I just think this is hilarious because both players went double-double. So we have 2 riders, 2 statesmen, and on Assyria we have 2 champions and 2 hunters. So that just tickles me a whole bunch. Good for them. Good for them. I like to see it because, again, you don't need to feel pressured to get your 3 families out as quickly as you can. If you have a good location and a plan behind delaying that other family, then go for it. Play the map. Don't feel restricted by that mechanic. All right, back to Assyria. We have a settler coming up in 6 turns. Wouldn't it be funny if neither player... Wouldn't it be funny if neither of them ever settled a 3rd family? It's just rider, statesman, rider, statesman. I suspect they're both doing the same thing. I suspect they're both waiting to bring in clerics. Again, I do think it's a little wild to not have Sentinel on Persia, but I can get behind it, I suppose. And the only reason why I think that is because Sentinel can even apply to the unique unit, but I guess you'd rather have flanking, I suppose. I don't like flanking that much because it takes more orders to flank. So I suspect they're both delaying clerics to the 5th or 6th settle because you don't need it right away. Just gonna grab it for that law. And the extra orders. Do have a nice warrior here. That's convenient. That damage is just crazy. Look at that. 2 damage compared to the 12 that this one could do. Well, I mean, I guess it has tribal. Never mind. But still, woods just suck so much for slingers. Plenty of harvesting going on. Really maximizing that culture. All those extra orders, he has a pretty much a harvest economy going on at this point. Great use of the Persian ability, and we like this scout position for Assyria. Nice to see Becked kind of increasing his vision potential here. Backing over to Becked. Yep, we can have eyes on this location. Very nice. 4 turns on composite bow. So that's the other interesting thing. There's so many slingers here right now. He could go on a chopping spree. He could take this worker out here. Actually, aggressive chopping this way would make sense to deter your opponent from being able to hide in these forests. So after building this quarry, I might head right out here and just aggressively chop all of these trees, because then what you can do with all of the slingers that you have is you can just upgrade them into archers right away, and that is devastating to deal with. An archer rush is very much a thing in this game. It's a very strong tactic. It's difficult to deal with. And the counter is mostly forests, and I suppose chariots could counter that. Usually what will happen is the archer player will just make sure that they don't give you a route chain. Or at least that's what they should do. So we might see some early aggression from Becked once he gets archers online. I really want to see this worker migrating. What I would do here is take this worker, come down here to build this pasture, and then when this worker is done, send it down here to build this pasture. And then I just send this guy back to my capital. I'd really spend the orders on migrating my worker around, because I'm Persia, I already have spoke wheel, but I'm not able to build chariots. You want your chariots online quickly. We do have the ability to get a chancellor with no real good options, though. However, that will... Whoa! Holy shit. Okay. We have very angry statesman family. Let's take a look here at what's going on. Discontent isn't really a major issue, so no counselors, so you want to put that... Oh, and this guy is a judge, so you want to just add this guy to your council. He hates you, though. He's plotting against us. He's a judge versus a schemer, so we could see the starting leader get assassinated. That is just wild. Negative 254. That is brutal. We will see rebels shortly, I suspect. Hopping over to Persia, let's check out their kingdom situation. Conversely, Persia's opinion is fine. Sorry, Assyria's opinion is fine. Their religion's a little unpleased, but nothing a quick influence won't fix. 4 turns on a settler. And we have some nice positioning down here to get ready to clear this Thracian camp. Loves to see it. Love to see it. The Thracians have built up quite a sizable force, so I suspect they will raid at any point. This camp's not ready to raid, but these 2 camps are ready to raid. We'll keep an eye out on that. And Persia is at war with the Numidians, and the Numidians are near enough. Both players keeping eyes on the center of the map. Their scouts are just a few tiles away from each other. Assyria peeking into Persia, and Persia keeping vigilance on these hills outside of Assyria. Stone cutting now coming in for Persia. Makes sense. Interesting, portcullis in the deck. I really like this as an early grab. It's a bit deep. Would take quite a while, actually. Maybe I probably wouldn't grab it, because that would be... like 20 turns, and we don't want that. However, that free onager can be nice in a defensive situation, so that can always be something you can think about. I tend to do that more as the Hittites, though. Still plenty of orders. I don't know what moves have been made. Let me just make sure that these guys are doing all right. All right. 30 seconds left to spend 15 orders, although it is tight, so they will be able to do... All right, now he's going to get everything. He's fine. 12 seconds. We'll be curious. Oh, no, he's coming back to heal. Okay, great. And that should be everything except his scouts. Yep, kind of running around harvest. He can do that on his opponent's turn. Feel free to end your turn when you have your civilian moves left. If you're on tight, save yourself some time. Bank it. All right, Assyria looks primed to start taking this camp. Let's see if he could do it in one hit. No, it doesn't look like he can, unless he gets a crit. No crit, but he'll clear it next turn. No big deal. And he's going to do plenty of strong damage. He could honestly kill 2 units next turn, which will result in yet another orders boost. He does 3 turns on his next settler, so this city will be settled in about 4 or 5 turns. Both players running around the map harvesting now. Pretty solid. Great use of the schemer ability. These invisible scouts is just the schemer honestly is just a fantastic archetype. I think it's a tiny map. I'm sorry, it's a dual map. Dual square coastal rain basin is this map. Yeah, the schemer is just a fantastic opening archetype. It gives you science, it gives you great vision, it gives you fantastic legitimacy, and you will never, in the entire reign of your starting leader, run into a situation where you don't have enough orders to do what you want to do. So, they're just awesome. They have a bit of a surge in popularity right now in these beginning rounds of the tournament. They are certainly not unbeatable. There are multiple ways to try and deal with a schemer on your opponent, but certainly something to be mindful of if they have vision of you and they have the ability to do everything they need to do. Not a lot of usage of the order buying on Persia, though. No real need. It is Persia. They have plenty of orders. They have 21 orders per turn currently. Let's compare that to Assyria, who has 13 orders per turn. So, I mean, Persia is doing what Persia does best, which is just pretend that they don't play the same game as every other faction because they don't care about orders. What do we have in the capital? We're building a garrison in the capital. Love to see it. How close are we to laws? We still only have 1 law. We have 1 law on both players. All right. They're neck and neck in legitimacy. 70 on Persia, 64 on Assyria. This camp will be going down. And what I'd like to see is this oh, did he lose some opinion? He must have lost some opinion. He did. All right, well, never mind. He'll have to do 3 attacks to kill one of these units. That's okay. He can still do it. So that's what's so great. It took 4 orders to kill. It will take 1, 2, 3, 4 orders to clear this camp and kill 1 other unit, right? But by killing both units, Assyria will get 2 orders per kill, which means the entire process of clearing this camp and killing a unit was free. I love Assyria. Really, really great expansive potential here. What do we have going on over here? A second shrine. Okay. Oh, no, this is a sword cult. Great. But a second shrine in the capital. Interesting. I would not be surprised if we do get an early religion, if we see a mythology grab. Normally, if we see a stockpiling of shrines in one location, there's pretty strong chance that you're going to get a mythology off of that to boost one location with a lot of extra culture. So, question in chat: what would I say breaks a schemer? How would you counter a schemer? That's a good question. They're pretty versatile. I suppose you have 2 options. I technically think the schemer counters the builder, but I think there's a case if you're on a wide enough map, if you're on a larger map and there's more territory, that's going to benefit the schemer because there's going to be more landmarks. They're going to get more orders. They're going to get legitimacy. That's just what's so gross about the schemer. However, if the schemer is going to take their sweet time getting to you, then as a builder, I think you have the ability to potentially build up quite nicely. You're going to develop faster. But the reason why I think a schemer actually counters a builder is because the most common thing, we have a rebel up here, and a rebel up here, so we still have that pissed off family, and we're dealing with that. But the reason why I think a schemer counters the builder is because the number one issue that a builder always has, it's the biggest pitfall of builders, is you can build so many workers and use so many workers, and you want to do all of that, and then next thing you know, you realize you choked yourself out of all of your orders and you can't do anything because you have 8 workers improving tiles when you're still trying to clear barbarians. And so since you have an archetype that can choke itself on orders, schemers who literally never have an order issue is just a strong counter. But I think if you're far enough apart and you play it right and you don't choke your order economy, which is the biggest trap of the builder, I think a builder could work. The other thing I think would probably be a tactician. In a closed quarters situation like this, tactician. I mean, really, because like you build an army, you put your tactician on it, you walk across the map, and if your opponent has their pants down, they're screwed because you're gonna stun one of their units, so you automatically have an advantage there. Zealot could probably work for mobility. Roman Zealot charging across the map against a schemer. Schemer's probably gonna have a bad time, unless it's someone like Assyria and they're doing the ballista beeline, in which case Rome's going to send all of their units into a meat grinder. So it depends, basically. It depends on family a little bit. But the biggest thing is you want to punish rapid expansion. Both of these players are being they're not being greedy. And by that I mean they're actually spending time in their build queues to build military units. Let's look at their power graph here. Both units very close to each other, a slight edge to Becked. But remember, they got that militia. Do they still have the militia? Yeah, the militia's still around. So slight edge to Assyria here. But neither player, we do have workers all up in Assyria now, but he still took several turns. I think he built a military unit first in every city, and that's the correct type of play that you want to see in this tight-knit, close head-to-head matchup, because if Assyria built all these units and Persia didn't, and they did have a tactician or a zealot, and they were moving at a quick speed, and they were running across the map to you, you just fold almost instantly. It is significantly harder to attack. It's easier to be on defense because it takes less orders for you to defend your empire than it does to attack an empire. But speed and aggression could counter a schemer, I think. Ultimately, the tricky thing about the 2 science archetypes, scholar I would rank in this too, is that they can get through the tech tree very quickly. So like Babylon, a Babylonian scholar is just disgusting because, I mean, they'll have onagers in 2 seconds. And nobody wants that. So, but what would I do if I thought I had a Babylon scholar that was rushing onagers? I'd pick the Hittites or Persia and say no. But then again, it just comes full circle because then Babylon will get spears, so then you get axes, and it's a whole process of basically going back and forth trying to counter each other, and then hopefully somebody messes up. And whoever doesn't mess up wins. Drama on. See, this I think is a misplay here. I think this is going to be our first potential misplace from Anarkos. We're grabbing drama while we have military drill and aristocracy. I would either grab aristocracy for the law, or I would grab military drill solely because we are against Assyria. We know they already have military drill. So we're going to be in a situation, Assyria should be getting composite bow soon. Oh my good God, they're getting the ballista. Okay, so they already have composite bow. Um, they already have barracks set up, and now they have the ability to build barracks and range, and Persia has no opportunity to build barracks yet. So I think that would be a thing. If you're up against Assyria, get yourself some barracks pretty quickly. You want to match that military production. Honestly, I think in general, generally speaking, when you're playing an opponent, consider what they might have for techs and maybe catch up to that. I don't think you need to catch up to Polis for Rome unless there's lots of grove resources on the map. Then Rome runs the risk of going straight to land consolidation, so you might think of that. And I don't think you really need to catch up to rhetoric if you're up against Babylon. But military drill, labor force, those are things that you probably want to catch up to. Husbandry. Because husbandry on a map like this translates to orders. Every city has a horse. So Assyria should be thinking about grabbing husbandry for themselves to kind of create, make up that order deficit. We have our first archer upgrade. Still want to see some chopping sprees. Not seeing chopping sprees on Assyria yet. All right, so we have our counter. We have our horses. The issue we have with Persia is that they're not building any horses. So we need these tiles improved. We're getting our horses now. So that's 3 turns until we get a horse. Oh, the ability to build horses, and then I think it will be 8 turns until a chariot comes online. Thankfully, nope, we're very far away from, I thought we were pretty close, but no, we're very far away from developing culture. Maybe there are culture resources around to harvest? Doesn't look like it. Not anymore. All right, so things are looking pretty scary for Persia now. I suspect these will become a bunch of archers shortly. And then in 3 turns, we'll have a ballista. This is brilliant, though. Persia will be able to see the ballista as soon as it pops. I hope he never moves this scout. Please never move this scout. This is such great vision. And if you're against Assyria, honestly, I think this is the correct play, because the one thing you want to watch out for is, are they coming at you with a ballista? So even if you don't have a schemer, you pick a piece of woods like this and you put your scout in it. That way, every turn you can check, did a ballista show up? Did a ballista show up? You keep your vision on that. Now, the unfortunate thing is Persia doesn't know about these. Oh, they're close enough. So they can, maybe if they move a little bit, if they scout a little bit, but they'll start seeing these archers. This will be the other giveaway. If you see the archer, then you know composite bow is has been grabbed, and the ballista is at the very least in the deck somewhere. All right. 3 turns on that ballista, by the way. Let's take a look at some stats now, a little bit further into the game. Turn 28. We have a sizable science lead for Assyria. A lot of this is coming from intelligent. Let's take a look at this ruler. Oh, and he also has the Butcher's Mask. I like that. So the Butcher's Mask is fun. Your melee units start with Bloodthirsty, so that's always fun. Probably don't want to build melee units out of your champion seat. Sorry, not your champion seat, your hunter's seat. But still, nonetheless, neat one to have. I like the Butcher's Mask on the Hittites because of their unique unit, or chariots in general. I've comboed that quite a bit. Always fun. Prosperous, that's nice. Pretty decent. Oh, and he's got the bone dice. He can gamble if he wants. Let's pop on over to... Oh, we have a Zealot Heir on... Oh, this is just going to be disgusting. We have a Zealot Heir on Assyria. So that ballista, if he puts a Zealot, on the ballista. He could do an abdication and then just zoom the ballista along the map. We have another archer. And also, we're making 53 civics per turn as a series, so enlists are certainly on the table. Over to Persia. Persia has an affable child, and we have... Ooh, Tactician could be super handy here. We want to see the Tactician or the Zealot are both counters here. These are huge counters to the ballista. Your two options are either stun the damn thing so you can kill it, or, if you can kill it, enlist the damn thing. So either way, he's in a strong spot. I'd like to maybe see Zealot here, but Tactician is also good. Honestly, I would just be theory crafting at this point if I said I know what I would pick between these two archetypes in the moment. I'm partial to Zealots. It's one of my favorite archetypes in the entire game, so I'd probably pick Zealot knowing me, but I might think that I want to stun the ballast instead. No, I would want to enlist it. I am making 36 civics per turn. I'm near turn 400. I have my eyes on the capital. So yeah, if I go Zealot, he went Tactician. That's fine. That's also fine. But I would go Zealot, and if I see that ballista show up, well, then I'm going to make sure I can kill the damn thing and enlist it to my side. Butcher's Mask. Does it work on goats? No, just cattle, pig, and game, interestingly enough. All right, so we had a tribal elimination on the map. That's good to see. So that means he doesn't need to sit and guard on this camp, because it's not going to be respawned. That's always fun. We have acolytes being built. More slingers. We have a settler down here, a worker. So let's check that power graph with these archer upgrades. Interestingly enough, Persia is higher, so that's good to see for them. But we still don't have any hunters. So none of these slingers are sentinel slingers, and those are what you want on the defense. Really hoping that Persia stays with his vision directly on the capital. If he moves off, I'll be so disappointed, just because right now he still can see when the ballast is going to show up, and it's going to show up in 2 turns. So really hoping the scout hangs around in this region. Dealing with some rebels. Thankfully, he's got a warrior up here, so these woods aren't that big of a deal. One thing I like to do, though, if I'm a slinger nation, I like to chop woods directly outside my capital, because this is where your first rebel is always going to spawn. It's always going to spawn directly on this front tile. So if I have woods and stuff here, I try to clear it if I can. Just do a quick chop. That way I never run into a situation where my slingers can't kill the stupid rebel. Zealots better with cavalry. Yes, no, the extra fatigue would be amazing on horses as well. Yeah, so that's another feather in the cap of the Zealot choice on this match as Persia. It's very tempting to always take the wisdom play. And we do have slingers and lots of wood, so a bunch of invisible slingers is not the end of the day. It's not the end of the world either, for sure. You could pop slingers all around these entry points. Still not getting vision on these incoming archers. Hopefully he stays around here and we'll see this last one upgrade. Gonna hop over to Becked. I'm kind of playing catch up here. I would like to see more chopping. We really just want to drive a worker into these woods and just cut the majority of it down. Clear cut it. Don't even bother doing single chops. Yes, rebels will always spawn on this tile. And then, if you want to get more technical, they spawn here. And if there's a unit here, they'll spawn here, and then here, and then here. Everything happens in this counterclockwise order. So that's something you can plan around. Ways you know. Nice. Perfect. Chopping spree. Assyria's on the chopping spree. Yeah, so ways you know that I've played way too much of this game is that I can tell you exactly where rebels will spawn and when. There's two exceptions to that. Slums, the rebels from a slum will spawn directly on the slum itself, and rebels from religious dissent will spawn on monasteries or temples, or cathedrals, I suppose. So those are exceptions to that rule. But if it's just a regular rebel outside of the capital, outside of the city, it will spawn in a loop. Which means if you surround your city by things like militia, then rebels will just spawn like over here. So that's always fun if you're in a discontent spiral and everything's falling apart and you have a bunch of workers and stuff laying around. You could surround your city centers and prevent them from getting hit. Well, I guess they changed the AI on the rebels now, and now the rebels will attack other stuff. So I guess they're a little bit more chaotic to deal with. So that trick doesn't work anymore. They'll just attack the units. All right, so we really want to see chariot production. He did purchase or chop 10 turns, though. That is not great. That is one of the other advantages to things like steel or phalanx or composite bow is you can build the warriors or slingers in the meantime and then upgrade them. All right, so Persia does have eyes on this upgrade. They know that they're in trouble here. They're both similar, though, so he's still maintaining up in power. That ballista appearance is going to swing things a little bit, and it will be coming out next turn. So what... I just don't want this scout to move. It's still Persia's turn. I'm really hoping it doesn't move. If it moves, just keep eyes on the capital, please, for the love of God. There's been enough conversation about the ballista rush so far this season that I must suspect that anyone going up against Assyria should expect it. That means the next time you play, oh, good God. And there we go. We're backing off the capital. This is devastating to me. But yeah, for those of you who choose to play Assyria in the future, maybe the fun twist would be go rush spears instead. And then throw everybody for a loop. And there we go. We have the ballista, and poor Persia can't see it. Oh, that's so funny. All right, well, we'll see if he can catch it on the way. 2 turns to ironworking on Assyria now, so we probably have labor force targeted when it makes sense, and then phalanx will be a ways away, so we can shut down those horses shortly. Not looking great for Persia long term. Assyria is moving up with their archers. I don't see another settler here. I thought they had one for this spot. Oh, they brought in patrons. Interesting. Okay. No clerics on Assyria. Chopping spree. Chop, chop, chop. Love to see it. Let's look at overall wealth between both nations. As I suspected, Persia is much wealthier than Assyria. Assyria is taking their wealth and churning it into units. Does make sense. Let's look over at Assyria is now stronger than Persia for the first time. Well, maybe not for the first time, but... Yep, and there's the ballista. Boop! And probably another upgrade or two. That's funny. Oh, and a spear showed up. Great. Oh, that must have come from an event. So we have a free spear from an event on the map. That's just devastating. We do have 8 turns to a chariot, but that one lone spear is going to ruin Persia's day. I wouldn't, whatever this is built, this shrine, I wouldn't have done this. I would have brought this worker all the way down here, not waiting for the settlers, this city to build its own worker. I would have brought this worker all the way down here to improve that tile quickly. We are getting raided. And again, the reason for that is I want the ability, my leverage right now, my 5th strength unit is chariots, and I want the ability to build more of them. We have rhetoric and navigation here. Ah, man. Going for stone boost. I mean, stone boost is a high value tech, but I really want to see 4 laws quickly. And the reason for that is the Persian unique unit is just brutal. It's a ranged unit, which means it will even deal full damage to a spear. It will still take all of the nasty spear damage in return, and the spear will like block it and do zone of control and deny the routing ability. But the Persian unique unit is a ranged horse, which means it's 6th strength unit that will do full damage to a spear, because the spear's strength bonus to chariots is melee only. So if I were Assyria here, I would be prioritizing my laws, because that's the other thing. I see archers, and the unique unit can rout as well. So, strong powers there. Over to Assyria. The ballista does not look like it moved last turn. Okay. Well, that's good news for Persia. Coming up for some clearing. We have enact slavery and make peace with a tribe as our ambitions. It does look like we'll probably take this central site. I really can't imagine Persia's in a position to contest. So they can see that it's happening. They have their scout in the region. Oh, man, and I would just love their scout to come back here. Such a bummer. That ballista is moving up. Persia would have known. If that scout just stayed right here, Persia would have known. And would have seen it move. Brutal. Brutal, brutal, brutal. All right, back over to Persia now. They can see the advancing archers. They've moved their scout even further away. That's just awful. But, you know, I understand it. Maybe they're trying to keep full vision of this central path. And they will see the ballista. There's no, I mean, these scouts will stay in this region for sure. So there's no way the ballista is crossing this field without being spotted. But the issue with that is only one of your cities is building military units. And your opponent is stronger, so. Both nations have discovered 6 technologies, but Assyria is learned because they have a deeper, more expensive technologies, is what I meant to say. Not Persia, Assyria. They have composite bow. A lot of this is very beeline heavy. So when you run deeper into the tree, the learned status is based off actual tech costs, not number of texts researched. All right, back to Assyria. 3 turns on aristocracy. Let's do a law check on him. All right, so he's nowhere close to his 4 laws either. The Assyrian unique unit would be a decent enough counter here to Persia, I suppose, because they have that 25 defense against ranged units. And there we go. Assyria has taken the central site. And will have a strong defensive position. He does have hunters, so I would not be surprised if this central location goes to the hunter's family. He has hills, so archers and sentinel archers and slingers on these hills would just be Very difficult to deal with. Persia backing off. Timing on those chariots is going to be really tight. Settler coming out. All right, we have our stone boost. We have rhetoric, navigation, phalanx, and portcullis as options. All decent options. Probably rhetoric here for me. Don't necessarily need the orders just yet. And I'd rather have exploration for the mobility. So, and rhetoric is cheaper, so it gets me to... And we're going for phalanx. Okay. Phalanx isn't the worst. You do get a 5 strength unit from it. Helps you better deal with the archers just a little bit. But the main concern, obviously, as we know, as onlookers, is the fact that the ballista is going to chew any spear alive. Very difficult to deal with. Another interesting... I suppose another counterplay to a ballista rush would be rushing land consolidation and getting the free horseman. This free bonus horseman card would be 6 strength unit and would really mess up a ballista. It's kind of like putting all of your eggs in one basket, but I mean, I won't complain about having land consolidation early in the game. You can certainly get it within 30 and 40 turns, depending on which faction you play. Rome has a solid choice to it. Babylon can go anywhere they want because they're Babylon. And yeah, so there are options. You could play a scholar and do a hard beeline. Getting an early horseman would certainly help out. And then you could backtrack and do the same thing. You could go to land consolidation, set up your growth for the science boost, and then backtrack up to composite bow, get yourself a ballista, and then next thing you know, hey, look, I have manor for longbows. There you go. Healing up. On our way to Assyria again. Ballista is just about 3 turns away from the center of the map. We do have this scout. This scout will be the unit that reveals the ballista, assuming it doesn't move again. I really don't. Imagine if the scouts just keep moving around such that they keep missing the ballista. That would be devastating. So close, just 3 tiles away. We're building a rancher in the capital. We need more units. Importing horses while we have horses. This is a misplay. We have a misplay here. But that's alright. You don't need to import horses if you have horses in your city. I suppose this could protect you from a pillage, and if you're not planning on bringing... Oh, wow, there's horses again right there. You don't really need horses anywhere. Horses here. I guess you could riders here and import there or up there, but maybe he's not planning on bringing in riders again for this game, so... I guess the... Oh, no, we're going back to a warrior. Great, good for him. Alright, back to Persia. Persia needs to deal with this raid and slash tribal unit, so... Otherwise, Assyria will be able to kind of capitalize on this harass here. And he could afford to be a little bit aggressive, knowing that the ballista will kind of come up behind and reinforce him. I would like to see that zealot heir put on the ballista so you could do a cheeky abdication play. It's always fun to abdicate into a tactical leader on your turn and go for a surprise play. Examples of how you could do this is abdicating into a tactician when your opponent's not expecting a stun, abdicating into a zealot, boosting all of your units by 1 fatigue, and then going in for a surprise enlist, or a very fun one, abdicating into a hero heir, setting up a very, very surprising launch offensive that your opponent had no idea was coming. Those are the 3 big tactical things you can do. You could do a commander flanking, but it's not as flashy. Of course, it does give you the fun ability to use both of your leader abilities in one turn. So you could use your schemer orders, purchase with your schemer the 10 orders, and then abdicate into your zealot and enlist somebody. That would always be fun. I did that once in a duel. I had I think it was a tactician into a zealot or a zealot into a tactician. I can't remember. I had both. So I got an enlist and a stun on the exact same turn, which was pretty satisfying. Just as satisfying as it sounds. All right. So Assyria has eyes on the front line. He knows. He doesn't have any concept of the back line or any reinforcement potential, but he knows that the defense of this city is looking a little light. An archer would do 8 damage. 10 damage. He could actually go for a kill here. He could kill this leader. Especially if any one of these crit. He could 100% kill this leader right now. So we could see some early aggression. Well, it's turn 35. I guess it's not early. Turn 30 is a benchmark. All right, we have some raids. He's going to opt to deal with that. Turn 30 is a very likely time frame that you could deal with very early aggression. And all right, we have the Persian scout doing his job. Anarkos can see everything he needs to see. He can see 2 archers. He can see a terrifying ballista. And he can even see a spear, which is going to spell trouble for his chariots. Hopefully he doesn't think that this means his opponent can build spears because currently Assyria cannot. And we bring in clerics for the 3rd family, bringing us to a 2nd law. So, as I've discussed a couple of times earlier, at one point, instead of drama, Assyria could have gotten rhetoric, I believe, or maybe navigation, but then at a different point, he also had the opportunity to get navigation or rhetoric. So right now, he could have had his 4 laws already on turn 36 and been on his way to building a stronghold and giving himself the ability to create his 6 strength unique unit, which would do very well in this situation. Again, with it being ranged, there's not too many forests. There's these ones, which would be pretty defensive, especially for an archer. An archer on this hill would... that's just going to suck. He's still attacking. I would be backing off here. Because, remember, just like we're grabbing these units and seeing their movement range, you can grab your opponent's units and see how far they can go and what damage they can do. So, everything I can see right now, not the invisible stuff or like the scout or whatever, but Anarkos does have the ability to just grab this general, walk him right over here, and see that he can do 9 damage into one of these units. So you'd really want to back off here. Tactically speaking, you'd want to back these slingers off into these woods. Let this unit come to you if it's going to. And play cautious around this. Because again, the ballast is coming up. So you can only suspect that your opponent would be aggressive here. Assyria is stronger. So yeah, you want to move yourself into a defensive position. That's something I see a lot in this tournament so far with newer or less experienced multiplayer players, is that they don't retreat well enough. You kind of want to back up. You want to put yourself kind of behind your city. That way, when your opponents are coming into attack, they're getting into your territory, and you can take your territory bonuses or deny them potential healing from heroes and all that fun stuff. All right, let's take a look at the maps. Pretty much full reveal on Assyria makes sense. I'm sure that Persia has a full reveal. Mostly, for the most part, they can't see this city down here, but... Right? Second law on Assyria, probably going to look at centralization for the science, but I could see some justification for vassalage here. Still a little bit too early for it, but we do want to cut down on that wood maintenance, so maybe that's an option, but still very likely the 5 science off of centralization is the way to go. We have a promotion. We have, oh wow, my favorite promotion in the game, believe it or not, amphibious. Love it. The amount of times that a melee unit where amphibious just saves your ass because you just happen to be in a river in a situation where you don't want there to be a river is just amazing. And we do have our zealot heir on the ballista is Becked, going to demonstrate the surprise abdication strategy. I sure hope to see it. We're 53 years old. You probably don't want to get rid of intelligent on your ruler. Hard to pass that up. But, if needed, abdicating into that ballista and going straight for an enlist. We have 400 civics. We haven't adopted our law. Turn's still going, so maybe he'll do it at the end of the turn. But if we don't see a law get adopted on this turn, that would signal to me that Becked is willing to hang on to the civics for an emergency enlist should he need it. Building forums. I mean, he has all of the military he really needs right now. Love the chopping spree. Love this. Really love to see it. Building forums, that's interesting. I mean, that's some economic development there. That's an interesting interplay in these games, especially on smaller maps. The games can be quick, they can be over, but you always kind of have to deal with the back and forth of trying to decide how much you invest into the future. Because if your early attacks fail, or if your timing assaults fail, and you haven't been preparing for the future, you could have momentum swing rapidly into your opponent's favor. If they've been building their economy better up so far. We have seen that in one of the games so far. We had a player with a massive lead, playing very well, but their opponent just managed a better empire. And the 2 early attacks that the player in the lead launched against the player behind both failed. And then the final timing attack was repelled as well because the weaker player just had a better economy. It was a real sight to see. And we have a note ballista with a sad face. It's okay. We do have 1 chariot. We have the ability to rush another chariot. This is a great reaction. We know that we were building a rancher here, so we really like that Anarkos saw the ballista and switched his production into a chariot. We're going to have to see a rush here, but that's really good reaction. You can't just keep building whatever you want when you have this level of threat in sight. Another mistake I've been seeing often in this tournament so far from less experienced players is they're not building an army until they're actually under attack, which is not the time that you want to build an army. You want to have an army when you're before you get attacked. So, nice to see Anarkos swapping build queues there to the chariot. Thankfully, there's only 1 spear. Still going to be an issue here for him. Definitely don't like to see a spear and a ballista in the same army. Let's take a look at Assyria and see. They're 3 turns away from labor force. They have 46 science per turn, so they can clear phalanx in about another 5 turns as well. 4 or 5 turns. So spears are not too far behind. We don't see any warriors in the queue. Oh, no, we have a warrior here, so that will very likely find its way upgraded into a spear, and I would not be surprised if we see a warrior coming online right out here, too. He doesn't really have the economy for it, though, so he's opting for a worker. Going to heal up those archers and position that ballista more forward. All right. Persia is now weaker and naive. And we have another raid, and this is targeting Persia as well. Not a good sign for our friend Anarkos. This is a round one match, though, so whoever loses this match will be in the tournament. They'll go into the lower bracket, the elimination rounds, and they'll get to see how long they can survive in the lower bracket. So, not the end of the world if Anarkos can't withstand the ballista attack, but the game is certainly not over yet. 2 turns on a chariot. Unfortunately, there isn't... Oh, so here's a fun trick, actually. So we built this shrine ages ago. I think this finished in the last 5 turns. Give or take. If you're trying to build yourself in a position where you want to rush this stuff, right? We're 10 turns away from developing culture. So what's a way we could speed that up? We did rush this chariot. Very glad to see it. You should probably build another one to rush that one out. So anyway, I want to talk about something here. If you build an urban tile on top of a culture resource, it'll give you 50 culture. So a tactic you could have done in this spot, we got to 70 culture here. We need 100 to level up. If this shrine was built on this wine, you would destroy the wine permanently, but this city would get 50 culture. It would already be developing by now, and then you could start rushing from it. So that's always a fun trick. Assyria is staging on the border. They are now back to similar. So just bringing in the one chariot has propped Persia back to similar. This could be the lifeline they need to deter Assyria from attacking. Still an overall net science advantage. And, orders is, wow, massive. So this is the other thing that you're going to run into. You really can't wage a war on 12 orders per turn. And if you do, and your target, who you're attacking, who's defending, has twice as many orders than you, you're going to find that you might actually lose that fight. But for science, Assyria has been quite ahead for some time. Yeah, so I don't imagine that Becked would rush in here. I actually think it could go bad, but let's do it. Oh my god, never mind. It would one-shot everything. Disgusting. Look at that. 20 damage. That's the Zealot. Let's look at the stats on this Zealot. 6 courage Zealot. Absolutely disgusting. So it's giving 25% attack. And it'll just come in here on an urban tile and just decimate this whole line of slingers. So that's another thing. You want to back up. You want to get yourself into the woods. And you also don't want to bunch your units up. Otherwise, this guy's just going to come up here and delete all of your shit. So, really difficult to play around, but it is possible. It is possible to play around. I have faced off against the notorious Fluffy Bunny, came at him with a ballista, deleted most of his army, and he still managed to kill my ballista and push me back. In a different game, also against Fluffy Bunny, he came at me with a bunch of archers and a chariot, and I actually managed to kill his ballista. He still won that game, but the fact that you're able to kill... Also, just for clarity, that game took forever. It was a very long game. It took to like turn 90, so pretty long for a very close head-to-head matchup. Yeah, I was able to kill his ballista pretty early, which prevented him from going straight for the win. So it is possible to kill this stupid thing. You just need to be cautious and play around it. Take every advantage you have. Like, really don't stack up like this. This is just gonna be awful if he comes in. Positioning and tactics is key in this game. It's also incredibly difficult to get right. Let's see if Assyria Oh, such a bummer. It would be so wonderful if, like, you could just be one tile out of range, but that's the advantage of the schemer. Let's take a look at this damage here. So the spear will do 9 damage to that chariot, and we only take 4 in return. That's such a massive swing. I'd like to see maybe some axes. Oh, we're getting phalanx, right. And we're getting raided. Ugh. Crappy day for the Persians. I definitely think the correct play was getting spoked wheel early. What the misplay here was we took way too long getting our pastures up. Even if it takes that capital worker, if you're in a tight spot and you're worried about early aggression, you take the capital worker to the nearest city. If you're grabbing spoked wheel, get the pasture online. That way you can actually build your chariots. Really want to see us backing up here. You don't want to be forward. Because, think of it. All of the archers can attack you from outside your borders. You don't want that. You want your archers in your borders because you get better movement. You get better movement because of the river. Not really here because the border boost hasn't popped yet. But like in the future, right? You want your army back here. That way when they try to come into for the attack, you can then advance on them. It's all culture giving resources will pop. Basically, how it works is if you delete a resource, whatever the resource is will give you 5 times the amount as if you were to harvest it. So you'll get a bunch of gold if you delete a horse, but of course you wouldn't want to delete a horse. You get a bunch of food if you delete some goats. But yeah, if you delete a resource on the map by building an urban over it, it is gone permanently, and you get 5 times the harvest amount. So for pretty much every resource, because like, you know, marble would get you 50 stone. It's not worth it for any of the other resources with the exception of the culture, because naturally, as I explained, you can boost yourself. You can boost an early, like this city right here, for example. If you build a shrine here and then say a hamlet here, this is one of the things I use hamlets for. Instantly, you have a developed culture city right in the center of the map. And you can rush from it. So deleting grove resources makes tactical sense. Nothing else really makes sense in the same way. But it's a very, very fun tactic. I love to do it. It's a great way to culture rush as well. If you are Greece and you're doing a culture rush and there are grove resources in your capital, you can put you can put your Odeon on it. You get yourself to developing culture right away and then start building a theater immediately. That's always fun. So basically, 2 groves is a very quick way to get an extra 100 culture in a city. But of course, if the game runs long, you are now deleting the ability to get these resources indefinitely. So depends on if there's tons of groves on the map, maybe you're more inclined to do a land consolidation push and you want to keep those groves around. But in a quicker cutthroat game like this, I would have no problem putting 2 hamlets on a hamlet here and then a shrine there and just getting myself a developing city on the front lines that I can rush out of. Sovereignty on, who am I, Assyria? Yeah, we're Assyria right now. Sovereignty on Assyria. That's going to be our 4th law. We have 2 active. We have 1 more we can adopt. Sovereignty will get us the civics boost, allowing us to adopt 2 laws, also giving us civics to pocket in the event that we need to enlist. So sovereignty is absolutely the correct play here. And 4 laws is going to be really tricky to deal with because Anarkos does not want to see rams. Again, he does have chariots, so... And, right, Assyria now has phalanx targeted to deal with those chariots. So, good momentum. Looking for Becked. What do we have targeted for Anarkos? Anything? Nothing specific yet. We did get Phalanx finally. Not the biggest help in this situation. We probably want to see aristocracy here. Oh, no, we have military drill. Perfect. That's great. A little late. We had a couple of opportunities to grab that already. In a head-to-head matchup like this, when your opponent already has military drill, you're going to want to grab that early. Eight wisdom on Persia. 6 wisdom on Assyria, but they do have that intelligent culture. Intelligent has been a popular pick so far. Makes sense. Players love that science advantage. They have remained relatively even in tech. Assyria is learned, though. So I guess they are crawling ahead. Yeah, oh no. So yeah, Assyria has these 2 techs and he's learning this one. That's really going to be a bad time. We have a spear. Let's see what the ballista will do to the spear. Alright, so the spear will at least survive. The warrior would have died, but the spear will now survive, which is pretty solid. So, looking a little bit better. I suspect Assyria will keep their eyes on this raid situation and maybe try to punish Persia as they deal with it. Ugh, man, yeah. Don't want to have this military unit right in front of the city. Your spear currently is your best military unit outside of your chariot. Don't want to put that front and center on an urban tile. We assume, let's see if I can do the math on this. 1, 2, 3, and then this would be 4 with an abdication. Plus 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so what would be fun to see is if this ballista sits himself inside the city. He's hanging back, hoping that Persia doesn't have vision on him. That's why it's back here. But if this ballista gets in the city, then with an abdicated zealot, you could force march it to this location. Because that zealot will give it an extra fatigue. And double fatigue does factor in the fatigue bonus of the zealot. So that's always fun as well. We have another chariot coming. So this is right. This is the correct play. We'll have 3 chariots to deal with this stuff. So I suspect with a warrior there... Actually, we're only building 1 warrior. I suspect Becked may wait for spears. Spears and rams make a dreadful combo. Rams are super difficult to kill on their own. Their main counter is horses. So if you just have an army of rams and spears, that is just a nightmare to deal with. The only other counter to that is poking the spears to death with a bunch of ranged units. Or siege of your own. We still have a tactician on the throne as an heir, though. Both rulers are getting quite old. We have 58 years on Persia. Yep, and they're both 58 because they both started at 18. Makes sense. Let's do an economy check. Persia's economy, 36 food, 25 metal per turn, 21 stone per turn, negative 57 gold. Pretty decent, not the worst, not great, not terrible, but some of this is being amplified by slavery. If we hop all over to Assyria, we have 32 iron, 42 stone, 31 food, and a less gold deficit. So a slightly better economy on Assyria, also not augmented by slavery. All right, so this is a better economy overall because it's not augmented by slavery. So good for them. They actually have an ambition to enact slavery, so they'll get another 10 legitimacy once they do that. And making peace with a tribe probably isn't going to happen outside of an event. Maybe he can get that lucky tribal invasion peace event. Nice to see another chariot coming up. So overall, this is pretty strong. Amusingly enough, there's a window here where I actually think Persia could be the aggressor. Persia can see this chariot. Sorry, this ballista. Oh, no, they can't. Well, assuming they move up to keep eyes on it. These chariots could force march. Oh, wow, I would love to see that. If this ballista stays staging in this location, waiting for spears, it is entirely possible we could get Persia into a situation where they could force march, flank behind. Even if they lost a couple of units, you would delete this advantage and not have to worry about it for quite some time. That might be worth it. I'm not even sure that you would lose everything. How much damage would an archer do? Oh, it's already doing 6. It's doing 6 on flat land with no trees. So there is some scrub here. You'd probably trade a chariot, maybe 2, for a ballista if you came in here with 3 chariots once they were ready. And he does have vision. That would be a bold play that I would love to see. And that's one of the ways you can counter it. I mean, really, you have everything you need right here. You just need to actually pull the trigger on it. You need to have that aggression. You need to be able to take that risk. Definitely a bold play. Definitely difficult to make calls like that. You never know when the correct time is to attack or not. Building some spears out here. Not bad. Because once that ballista is off the field, you don't really have anything to worry about in terms of spear count. Well, although I guess Assyria is right outside of steel, so you can worry about that. But with chariots on the field, you can rely on the fact that they're probably trying to get to phalanx. So my priority here in this situation, while I have eyes on this ballista, and it's out in the open on flat land. There's no scrub. So, Becked, if you're watching this, or for all of those of you watching this tournament looking for tactical tips, even if you're staging your ballista, 2 things. You're on the border, you're going to attack. Number 1, put it in the damn city. And number 2, if you're not going to put it in the city, get it off of flat land. Especially if you're Assyria and you're looking at chariots. Don't put your free ballista out in the open. A little bit of constructive feedback for you if you happen to catch this stream. Becked, win or lose. Yeah, you definitely want to get this a little bit safer. Anywhere else other than where it's currently sitting would be safer. Yeah, that's a 9 damage. Oh, and we're moving up. Oh, interesting. Yeah, man, I would love both. How much training does Persia have? Persia needs 300 training. And they need 300 training, and they need a 3rd chariot. Do they have a 3rd chariot? They don't. That's unfortunate. They're 4 turns from their 3rd chariot. That is unfortunate. All the more reason why you want to get that culture up quickly. I probably would have even rushed a 3rd chariot from the capital, but yeah. If they had a 3rd chariot and 300 training, even this chariot from all the way here could rush march to this location. They could make it. And this chariot could make it. And then, of course, a 3rd chariot, if it were in the region, could make it. The question would be one of orders. Persia does have 28 orders per turn and the ability to purchase orders with their schemer. So I think 38 orders would be enough to do that. It would be 9 orders per chariot. Let's take a look. Yeah, exactly. It would be, well, then 10. It would be 10 orders per chariot to bridge that gap and get that kill. You'd have to flank it, though, to make sure that you did enough damage to have the 3rd chariot take that kill. But 3 chariots could absolutely take this ballista out if they were around. Very, very cool to see. And this is why I find watching these matches so fascinating, even though, yes, they drag on for a little bit. And sure, there can be low points and there can be lulls or whatever. But it's just fascinating to me to see things like this and kind of analyze ways in which opponents could capitalize on their situation. Persia has the vision. There is a ballista out in the open. They're so close to removing that advantage from the field. They just need to be bold. We're healing up. Just a few more turns on 2 more chariots. And yes, I think that would be a window of opportunity here. Let's pop back over to Assyria. We're getting sovereignty, so we're going to be looking at 4 laws. And then, where is Phalanx in the tech deck right now? It will be shuffled. It's shuffled. So we don't know if it will be in the draw pile. There's a 75% chance-ish, give or take, it would end up in the draw pile. So, I mean, that's pretty solid. I don't think I got that ratio right because I didn't factor in the rest of the deck. But anyway, point being is there is a tiny window here, especially with the spear up north, which Persia can also see, where Persia could swoop in here with some chariots and get some serious kills. Kill a slinger, kill an archer, kill a ballista. Not in that order, obviously. Start with the ballista. And then... oh, man, he could plan around the attempt to clear this camp, too. Really good vision from Anarkos here. Really good vision from both players. I mean, your Assyrian scout is exactly where you want it to be. You're watching the army. And then if this moves, you can just move your scout and keep tabs on it. So, have some barracks building up. The Odeon, probably long-term play to try and get this to strong for the unique unit. All right, we have some chariots moving upwards. He can see the ballista here. He can see the positioning around this camp. So it's looking like Persia is willing to contest Assyria as they attempt to clear this camp. This could be the shot to take out the ballista or some other archers. Very interesting to see. Over to Becked now. Border boost. We have a very sizable border boost opportunity. Pretty solid. Hard to pass up, and of course we're going for it. And that will also allow us to cycle. We have Phalanx in the draw pile, along with Civics, Boost, and Free Chariot. This is going to be a tough draw if Civics, Boost, and Phalanx come up. Hard to pass up the Civics Boost, but you probably want that Phalanx timing in this situation, so... Both chariots still in Force March range. One of these chariots can do 10 damage. So 2 chariots can do enough damage to take this zealot, oh my god, this ballista down. And a spear is in Force March range, as well as a slinger. Anarkos, I'm going to say it right now, in case you watch this in the future, regardless what you do next turn, I just want to say, you can take out this ballista, and if you do it, I'm going to be so proud of you. If you use your vision and actually launch yourself in here to take out this ballista with 3 units, I just think that is going to be amazing to see. But yes, it's Persia. They have 28 orders per turn. They can buy 10 more. So 38 orders. You can force march 1 horse. Oh, he's going to have 300 training next turn. So he can force march 1 horse. He can force march a 2nd horse, doing 19 damage, bringing it down to 1 HP. And then all he needs is to bring in 1 slinger or his 1 spear with 1 more force march to do any amount of damage. But these 2 chariots are enough to bring it down to the 1 HP. And he will have the 300 training and more than enough orders to pull that off. He has vision. We could see this ballista removed from play. And I definitely think in response, Assyria would get a kill or two. Oh, we could go for order boost in this situation, but we want law tempo. So probably rhetoric. I really want rhetoric for the river movement. And we're going for free settler, which is frustrating because we don't have the option to build a city. All right, let's see. He has vision. Let's see if he's able to calculate this out. This is what I would be doing in this situation. I would be looking at my chariots every turn, being like, what damage can I do? And I would be willing to lose even 2 chariots to remove this ballista from play, because let's remind ourselves, this ballista can one-shot pretty much any one of my units. All right, we're healing, so we're definitely not making the attack this turn, which is a bit of a bummer. But there will still be another opportunity. This unit is moving up. Unfortunately, it's going to sit in the woods. So that will reduce that cavalry charge damage. That cavalry charge damage is stronger on flatlands. So we'll have to wait till next turn. But yeah, Anarkos, if you watch this in the future, that was an opportunity, my friend. And yeah, I feel like even if you lost both chariots, I think that would have been worth it. Especially because the opponent is about to have spears soon anyway. So it's like, you're not going to really want to have too many chariots around once a bunch of spears show up. All right, we're going for some clearing. Okay, we're prepping for that settler. I can respect that. I don't know that Assyria would be able to kill all 3 of them. Question in the chat was, if the 2 chariots and a slinger came up and killed this ballista, would all 3 units die? I'm pretty confident at least 2 would die, maybe all 3. But I don't think all 3 would die. Certainly, I feel like with a spear on chariots, a couple archers in the region, yeah, I think 2 units would die. Because he only has he only has 6 attacks in the region, and it usually tends to take about 3 attacks to kill a unit. So I feel like only 2 units would die. Very likely the targets would be chariots, so you'd be trading 2 chariots for the free ballista, which isn't the best thing in the world, but whatever. Next turn you can just get the slinger out of there. Unless they zone of control lock the slinger, so basically, yeah, all 3 units could die, I suppose. But I don't know, man. This one unit can one-shot off half my army anyway, so I might still want to do that. But I'm a risky player, so that's just me. Everybody seems to think I'm better at the game than I actually am. I just know everything about the game. There's a little bit of a difference. Two more chariots coming up, though. It's really great. Nice to see some economic development still. Oh, we must have gotten a rebel event, because these 2 guys just showed up. So that's a bit unfortunate. Let's check out on the opinion. Oh my god! Oh yeah, full rebellion. We just got a full rebellion event. So that'll calm down in 5 turns. Still, not what you want to see. Oh, that's awful. That just really bad luck. Hopefully Assyria doesn't notice that. This is bad timing, because this is the moment that you're probably going to want to come in here and try and do some real damage. Strong border boost pop. Wow, look at this border boost grab. That is amazing for Assyria. Border boost right to the border of your opponent. That is just so great. Once again, the value of taking key positions on the map. Also the value of a bit of a delayed aristocracy too, by the way. Some people open with aristocracy right away. And Oh yeah, that's a good point. When the baluster was back here, there were 2 forest tiles, so you could have put the chariots in the forest and attacked that way, and that would have worked as well. Um, yeah, this is one of the merits of delaying aristocracy a little bit. A lot of people like to grab it as soon as possible because centralization is much better earlier. I'm one of those players, but of course, delaying it also has tactical value. You get a much larger border boost, which collapses your borders, increases your movement, and you can do cheeky things like this, like steal territory from your opponent. All of these pastures could have gone to Persia, which would have been more orders for Persia. All right, we have our free settler. Really want to be grabbing aristocracy here, which would actually get the border boost in... All right, there we go, for Persia. Persia's in a real tough spot. They're clearing a camp. They have a settler that they want to move. They have rebels in their empire, and they have Assyria taking the front lines. They've very likely lost their window of opportunity to threaten that ballista. They could bring it down to... I'm trying to approximate flanking damage here. I'd say that would be maybe 17 damage, so they'd need 4 attacks to kill it now. Good catch on those forests, though. There, Sabertooth. Yeah, that would have been the play. Rush the ballistas in, put them right here. Sorry, the horses in. Put them right there. Take out the ballista in the field. And then you probably don't lose all 3 units. I think at least 1 chariot survives in that scenario. If not all of them, which would be awesome. That would have been a hell of a snipe to see. Definitely pressure is on when you're on a timer. When you're playing a network game, especially if you're new. I believe Anarkos, I think this is his first multiplayer map, so he's playing very well for a multiplayer map. He's reacting quite nicely to the scenario. You know, his vision is strong. His note-taking, you know, he noticed the ballista. He knew that he needed to build chariots. He rushed one in response. So, like, he's having good responses here, good muscle memory, I suppose, or tactics. And Becked is obviously playing well. I do not know if Becked is also a first-time multiplayer in the tournament. But both players, for their first game of the tournament season, are playing quite well. Which is lovely to see. So even if one of these players loses, I think they'll probably do pretty decent in the lower bracket. The elimination matches are always fun to watch. Always exciting when the stakes are a little bit higher and you know whoever loses the match will be officially out of the tournament. We have Zoroastrianism on Assyria. So we did get his 2 acolytes. He had the religion. No clerics, though. No real need for clerics. Where... Does he have a settler? I thought he had a... Oh, that went to the center of the map. So he's building another settler to take the final city. Is he building another one for the center? No, he's not. So this militia will probably be here for a while because I suspect his next settler will go take this center. Do a science check real quick. Oh, Mao. So we've had about a 10 to 20 point lead for most of the game on Assyria. That's just going to compound for quite a while. And then on the flip side, endless orders for Persia because Persia be Persia-ing. Military score is neck and neck. That's amazing. This is one of the reasons why I would like to see the risky play for the ballista, because both of us would do a deep dive, but I really feel like that would be worth it because I can build chariots, whereas Assyria cannot build. Although they do have the civics boost in Q. 3 laws active. The ability to get tyranny next turn. Tyranny will be the obvious grab here when you have many military families in your empire. And let's see. They will be able to build their unique unit here once they get their strongholds up. And they will be able to build a unique unit here once they get there. Love this, by the way. I love not worrying about the perfect adjacency. He just wanted his ranges out, so he just put his ranges out. I might have popped one of them down over here, but whatever, just get it done. Doesn't matter. It's a 0.1 order. People are so crazy about the adjacencies in this game. And most of them, not that they're not worth it. They add up. They do add up, but they're not worth bending over backwards, you know? Build a barracks when you need a barracks. If your garrison isn't placed yet, or it's not ready yet, or you don't have, like, if there's a mountain in the way, who cares? Like, for example, like Anarkos is doing. I probably would have put these barracks out here, to be honest, but, you know, whatever. He's just got them built. It doesn't matter. Whatever. He needs barracks, so he's building barracks. Step 1 is get the thing. If you can maximize an adjacency after the fact, great. If not, whatever. Just build it. Sorry. That was a little bit of a rant on my part. Nice to see the old flatland quarry happening as well. Not a lot of really good quarry spots in this map as well, so, you know, you're going to have to just take what you get. Not a lot of arid tiles. If either player expanded into this corridor, they would have had a massive quarry hub. That's always fun about watching these games unfold. Which direction your scout moves, which direction your warrior or slinger ends up moving, can really reshape how the game pans out for each player. It's very cool to see. Persia keeping solid vision on Assyria, almost ready to settle this final site on his side of the map. The city count is 6 cities for Assyria to 5 on Persia. They will catch up, but then in 5 turns, or 7 turns, Assyria will be 2 cities up on Persia. There is a window still for aggression on Persia. It's very difficult to know when you have a potential advantage. This ballista is, dear God, it's out in the open one more time. And now my chariots, I'm saying it like they're my chariots. Now the chariots for, oh yeah, they had to deal with the rebels. That makes sense. I can't fault him for that. That's not his fault. That's he had to manage that. That's a shitty situation. Let's take a look at that opinion for Persia. Slowly decaying, but 3 more turns and this rebellion will be over. Not too bad. Really good religion opinion, so that's nice. And now we're getting our road network online on Assyria. Love to see this. Fun fact. Oh, and he's doing it. He's making a worker chain. I'm not sure how elaborate he's going to get with this, but a fun fact about worker chaining, 3 workers back to back, building a road network, one cascading after the other. So you pull from the back and you move 3 steps forward and build a road. Then you pull from the back right here, right? 1, 2, 3, build a road. And then this one will go 1, 2, 3 and build a road. If you do that with 3 workers, it is exactly the same efficiency as if you had 1 trader worker. You don't waste any extra orders. It's the exact same amount of orders as if you had a trader's worker. So just stack 3 workers in a row, pull from the back, and just go road, 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 road. It still takes 3 units, but order efficiency wise, you don't waste any extra orders. The trader worker doesn't actually save you orders; it saves you units. Back to Persia. Probably going to see a force march settle. We do acquire another horse with this settle. So be curious to see what nation or family he brings in. 2 turns left on that rebellion, and then our opinion should even out. No extra rebels this turn, which is nice. He really wants to be careful with this unit. His spear will kill it next turn, and I have to say, losing a unit to a rebel would be devastating. All right, we did go for the force march. Makes sense. Get that issue out of the way. Now, neck and neck, 6 cities to 6 cities. Assyria, we can see now, has 4 laws. That would make me very nervous. Assyria building. So this is actually a great example. I'm actually going to dive into this real quick. This is just my personal preference. I'm not saying this is like the min-max way to play. But, so, to maximize this adjacency, Assyria opted to put this stronghold on a hill, which makes it take 1 more year to build. Personally, if it were me, I would just build the damn thing right here and get myself 1 turn quicker to Rams. I want my Rams now. I don't want my Rams a turn later. So even though I would get... Well, and this is what I'm talking about. If this was here, right, I'd get 0.1 order from the adjacency. But by putting it here, I sacrificed 1 turn for only 0.1 extra order. So this adjacency nonsense is just such a trap, in my opinion, for new players. Just get the thing out. Why waste a turn because you want to make a perfect diagram? So yeah, that is the last I will talk about adjacencies in this game. Forgive me. Well, not in this game, but, well, in this match. Yeah. So that's my thoughts on that. Okay. Looking good. More chariots on Persia. The correct play. What we'd like to see now is, I didn't clock this earlier. I did say he should grab aristocracy, but I didn't realize steel was in the deck. I would have grabbed steel. I already can see a spear. I'm not 100% sure I know if he can build spears, but I know if he can see my chariots, he'll be thinking about Phalanx. So I want axes on my side. I might actually go for steel in this situation. No. Patron's bonus does not apply to bulldozed resources. It's just a lump sum payout that is equal to 5 times the harvest amount. Patron's bonus only applies to the culture rate of culture in that city, generated from the actual yield of the tile. You're not getting a yield from the bulldozing. Oh my god. Did we lose it? Oh no, oh, whew! Good job, Anarkos. I thought we lost a chariot. Okay, great. So we moved back, we healed up. We have our tactician on the throne. This is still a window of opportunity for Persia to aggress. The rebellion is coming to a close in 2 turns. I really feel like there's an opportunity here for Persia to go on some offensive, take some kills, because you can do 2 things if you stage into this region. Get your chariots in the region, force march, kill the ballista, and then use your tactician to kill the spear, to stun the spear from a slinger. Is the tactician on a slinger? Yes, it is. Excellent. So that's your combo right there. Swoop in with chariots, delete this advantage, kill, stun that counter, and again, you have a bunch of archers in the region, so maybe you lose a horse or 2, but who cares? After the stun, after the turn, you can either choose to keep aggressing if the situation is in your favor, or you can just retreat because the spear was stunned, and so your horses aren't locked. But of course, it's very easy to say what we should do when we're just comfortably sitting back, not playing the game, observing from the comfort. It really is armchair generaling at this point, because I'm just relaxing in my computer chair saying, hey, do this. But of course, when you're up against the clock, you're playing a timer, you have a million different things to do, and it's your game. It's a very different ball game. 3-turn warriors, getting lots of officers in different areas now. Assyria's unit production. Let's take a quick look at training. Wow, neck and neck in training for both nations. Very nice. Very nice to see. Obviously, this also does factor in how many military units are being built. And interesting. There are more units being built in Persia, so this leads me to believe that Persia actually has a higher military training production out right now, which doesn't quite make sense to me. So I might be misunderstanding that graph. No new rebels this turn for Persia, so that's nice. So this is the last year of the rebellion, so he should not really see any new rebels next turn. Next year, he'll get his 3rd law. And let's take a look at the deck. We'll have composite bow in the deck. We don't want to push for architecture, so we're hoping rhetoric or navigation ends up in the deck, or steel again. Those are our 3 picks from this hand that we're looking at, from this deck that we're looking at right now. After aristocracy, we're hoping for rhetoric, navigation, or steel. Composite bow would be good too, but actually no, composite bow might be better because then we get the ballista of our own, and then we can upgrade all of our slingers to archers as well, and then it is a game. Both players are playing very well. No one's taking risks, which is nice to see. It can be very tempting to charge in with your ballista, but if the timing was off and these horses came online and routed everything, well, now you have a bunch of slingers and horses that can start aggressing against you. So nothing wrong with a little bit of conservative play as well. For those of you watching with us live, I appreciate the views. I appreciate the engagement. For those of you watching on YouTube after the fact, I appreciate you tuning into the tournament, sticking with us. I know the time on these games can drag out and feel a little long, but personally, I love watching when people play Old World, so most of my free time in the last couple weeks while streaming these tournaments has, instead of been playing the game, I've just been watching the game, and to be honest, it's just as fun regardless because I love this game so much. Right, what do we have happening here? We're building some more pastures. So it seems like we've just linked up the cities. What we want to see in a situation like this, because this is your Champsy, right? You want to build this road directly out. Maybe come down here. But I like to do aggressive roading to my opponent. You could also, since it's coming up here, I suspect he'll do a road this way. And then that will be the path, perhaps. Then you could do another road up here. Okay. And maybe he's going to... I don't know why he would funnel himself through the mountains, though. Maybe he's thinking that ballista pressure. But he'll probably come back down this way once he settles this city. The ballista would be tremendous defense for a city such as this, because the units coming at you would be funneling through this single path. So you could just whack them all if they line up. Monasticism being unlocked by Assyria. This is a dangerous proposition here because we already have 4 laws. This will make us 5. We don't even have navigation yet. 6, which brings us to a doctrine push for 7 laws. Doctrine does unlock us orthodoxy, which would then allow you to use your orders to rush out your 8 strength military unit. So always a scary proposition when you already have solid development on the early part of the tech tree, and then you're pushing up towards doctrine. If you're doing a law play. All right, so 15 turns composite bow. A little unfortunate. Our science has dropped here. Yep, this was the dip from our schemer dying. Our opponent still has their schemer on the throne, which is unfortunate because it is intelligent. We really want them to die. 66 years old, they're not doomed yet. But yeah, if we can get composite bow, we'll upgrade our own archers and we'll be in a better spot. We can no longer move our scout. We can go into these woods, but we want to keep position here, perhaps. And yeah, that has that schemer invisibility with eyes on. Goes on. Our second schemer is over here. Oh, sorry, our second scout is over here in the woods. Overall, decent vision for Persia. Our build queues are warrior, spear, chariot, slinger, spear. So still lots of military. Oh, wow. This is awesome. Anarkos is deciding, yes, I would like another city. Not sure I would be spending the orders on this for now. I think I would want to get myself into position to make an opportunistic attack while I have the chance. But maybe he's feeling like Becked isn't showing any signs of threatening. It's a tricky situation to be in, though, when your opponent is learned, because that signals to you that their science rate is better than yours, which means they could potentially pull ahead more and more. Oh, we got to repair that. More and more as the game goes on. It can be harder and harder to catch up. Which is one, and I'm bringing that up because that's one of the reasons why I might try to take some risks and go for some early aggression if I've noticed that I'm falling behind in science, because, well, I don't want onagers to show up. I don't want spears to show up. I don't want, you know, an 8 strength unique unit to show up. I want to take the fact that we're similar in strength right now, the fact that I have some counters to the situation that I'm looking at right now. I would want to press that advantage now if I have it. It looks like Persia's attempting to secure Judaism for the religion. We have another rancher coming online, and another rancher coming online, so perhaps we're trying to prop up our orders. I don't really feel as if that's necessary. It is a full order for Persia, though, to build a rancher, so definitely better than building a regular rancher for non-Persian nations. All right, let's take a look at Assyria. Assyria has solid eyes on Persia. Let's see our settler situation. 2 turns and then 4 turns. And we're going to do a manual spread right to the capital. Makes sense. "18 turns to strong culture." Probably going to want to speed that up a little bit. Does he have Odeons? He does not. Will be interesting to see if we're doing an apprentice officer. Another interesting play there, he could have adopted mythology for more culture in the capital. There are 2 shrines there. But I dig the manual spread. I do that often. I don't want to wait for the chance random world religion spread. I just get it out of the way as quickly as possible in key cities that I'm concerned with. Family opinion for the Assyrians is not looking great these days. So that's something to keep in mind. Keep an eye out. They have that -5 strength for their units. And then I'm pretty sure Persia should be out of the woods with the rebellion. Yeah. Slightly better opinion on Persia. He needs a shrine. Can he build a shrine? No, they're all out of shrines? I think he's all out of shrines. 1, 2, yep, 3, 4. Alright, so no shrine for the cleric's family. Alright. Just going to take a quick look here. We're coming on 2.5 hours. 50 turns in 2.5 hours. Not bad. Both players have been playing on tight since the very first turn. With a bit of a false start in this match. Players had to create the match, recreate the match after a turn timer mishap. So they've been playing at a pretty decent pace, having started from tight. Tactician is making his way towards the border. Still more chariots coming online. A little bit of a money deficit on Persia, but otherwise his numbers are pretty stable. When you have big deficits like this, make sure to manually sell your resources. That way you can stockpile the resources that you would like to keep. Also, yeah, that's just helpful, basically. Alright, and they'll be saving this session shortly. A couple hours is plenty of time to invest in a network game. Nothing wrong with taking the game to a couple of sessions. We've had some very strong build-up on both sides. I fully expect we'll have an explosive round 2, or match 2, part 2. Assyria will be settling the final 2 cities. Well, I guess there's 3 up here, but of this main corridor, the last 2 cities. And also, by taking the central site, that does open them up to exclusive access to this other city. So that would give him access to 10 cities total. There's 7 on each side. And then 3 in the center. So that'll, if he does expand to every site, that'll be 10 cities to 7. So that actually makes me appreciate this move up here a little bit more, because Assyria shows no signs of expanding into this corridor. He might probably ignore this as well. So this gets Persia an 8th city site to what will eventually be 8 for Persia if they expand to 8 to Assyria if they expand to these 2 locations and then don't bother with these 2 sites. So the total city site count would actually be 8 to 8, evening the production capabilities out between both opponents. This is actually a pretty good event. In my experience, if you just keep taking the top options, it generally gives you a pretty decent outcome. Oh yeah, we have great Alright, our players are pausing and saving here. Thank you all for tuning in. I will do a quick recap of the situation once more. Let's take a look at our graphs before we close out the session. So for national wealth, Assyria is wealthier than Persia at the moment. Generally the same population, 9 specialists on Assyria to 5 on Persia. A lot of those specialists are officers, so we have good military production capabilities in Assyria. Interestingly enough, Anarkos has the larger military right now. 2 free units are on Assyria. I'm not sure how many free units Persia may have gotten. This number does not factor in free units. Purely units produced. Persia has produced 9 units. 4 chariots. That's a pretty solid defense until the spears show up. And then we have no losses on either side yet. 4 laws on Assyria to 3 on Persia. 13 technologies on Assyria. And let's look at our graphs. Orders, Persia be doing Persia things. And I'll do the total there for you. It's about 26 to 11. Jesus Christ. I want to see how many orders Assyria is spending on improvements. 10. Okay, so Assyria's real order rate is 20 per turn. Wild. Compared to about 29 on Assyria. Alright, so then the final recap we'll do is science, which is just clear advantage for Assyria here because of that intelligent schemer that's still on the throne. And the military score, Persia's slightly ahead. So hopefully we can see some early aggression from Persia in part 2. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you're watching on YouTube, thanks for keeping track of the tournament. Please like, please subscribe, and please join the Discord to get in on all the action. Everybody have a great day.